Welcome to part 3 of what we consider a new holiday classic. Caught wife cheating day before anniversary. It's just one of those stories that makes you smile and laugh. It's just great to see justice done. Now on to the story. Update: daughter's wedding. This past Saturday was our daughter's, my baby girl, wedding. First, a sincere heartfelt thank you to those of you who remembered the day was coming up and who messaged me in the days leading up to the big day. It says a lot about the people here that have helped me through this ordeal that you would take the time to wish me and our family the best on Saturday. Special thanks to Mike who reminded me that it was okay to cry dad, and also to my Texas bourbon drinking friend who reminded me to bring 2 handkerchiefs along. The weather was a perfect fall day for a wedding. Although my goal was to make it up down the aisle without crying, which I did BTW, I needed one of those hankies before the ceremony even started. The photographer wanted to get some pics of just her and I in the hallway leading to the aisle with no one else around. So we had about 5 minutes, just her and I, with nobody around, hugging and talking. Neither of us knew the photographer was there. I'll keep what we said just between us. Then pictures of the 3 of us, RS, daughter and me. They both looked just so beautiful. The ceremony was wonderful. Pictures afterwards and on to the reception. Father/daughter dance. A few months ago, in what can only be described as a Homer Simpson moment, I told her she couldn't pick 2 songs for this dance. I loved her first by Heartland and The Man Who Loves You the Most by Zac Brown. Stupid move, I know. Pretty much guaranteed to pick one, maybe both. She picked the Heartland song. Somehow I made it through without crying too much. Then we showed why middle-aged white guys shouldn't dance as we tried to dance to Uptown Funk. Embarrassing, but I didn't care. RS looked stunning all dressed up. After the necessary hellos to our guests, we spent the rest of the night together, dancing, talking and socializing. The surprise of the night for me came from Phil. RS went on the dance floor for one of the ladies' only dances. I grabbed a drink and went on the patio to just be alone and reflect on the past 8 months. He brings me a bourbon and joins me. Says he has something he needs to tell me. Goes on to say that he knew I was the right guy for his baby girl after we had been dating 5 to 6 months, and he was hoping that we were falling in love to make that happen. The day I came to see him to ask permission to marry his daughter was a top 5 moment in his life. Tell me he was right back then, and the way I've handled these past months only proved how right he was. The night RS came clean to our families, he and Mill drove home, and all they talked about was how disappointed they were with RS and how much they were going to miss having me in their life. Figured there was no way we weren't headed for D, and couldn't see a way that I would want to stay in touch with them. Tells me that the grace, forgiveness and love I've shown their daughter is a measure of my strength and character. Gives me a hug and tells me he loves me and that he's proud to call me his son. Then he gets me really crying when he tells me he knows how much I miss my dad. But if I didn't, I would realize that he's been walking next to me since all this started. That he believes that in his heart, and knows that's one reason we have been able to get to this day and still be together. By now RS has joined us and asks what is going on. Just between me and him, her dad tells her. She's asked a few times since and still hasn't told her. We went back inside and stayed until the last drink was served. It was a great night and one that I will never forget. Again, many thanks to everyone for all your help and support. Moved back in together. Update. Hi everyone. Just a quick good news update. The new house is finally finished. We moved in the first weekend in October. It feels good to under the same roof again. RS said it felt a lot like 21 years ago when we took another step in our lives together, homeowners. In this case, it's a beautiful new home and a great start and foundation of our new relationship together. She's getting things set up the way she wants, and I'm happy to stay out of the way. As a measure of how far we've come, last Friday was 36 weeks since D-Day. Early in this process I would certainly known what day it was and how many weeks. I didn't even think of it until I sat down to write this update. Finally, Saturday we grilled out and then built a fire in the new fire pit. Poured a few drinks and just enjoyed being together. After a while I went inside and came out with the 2 sealed envelopes with the lists. Not sure how much of this I've shared. Ask if you want to know. Anyway, after some discussion, she tossed them in the fire and watched them disappear. Symbolic of putting this behind us and moving forward. Thanks again to everyone for all your concern and prayers. Not everything that happens in threes is bad. So I'm sure we've all heard the case saying that bad things come in threes. 2 celebrities pass away and people wonder who's next. After 3 to 4 lousy months after DDay, until I actually thought reconciliation was possible, maybe sometime in May, these last 4 weeks have been pretty good to me/us. First, our daughter's wedding. Great day. Then first weekend in October RS and I move into the new house and are living under the same roof again. Now, more great news tonight. Son and Dill moved into their first house recently. Tonight they invited RS and I along with Dill's parents for dinner. Show off the new house now they're all settled in. After dinner they open the small housewarming gifts each of us brought. Then they have a small gift for both RS and Dill's mum. Tell them to open them at the same time. Yay, you guessed it. Inside is a small Christmas ornament that says you're going to be a grandma. My son is going to be a dad. RS and I are going to be grandparents. Hugs, high fives and happy tears all around. Moments like this and the wedding really serve to reassure me that this journey of reconciliation has been the right thing. I can't escape the feeling that they would have felt empty somehow without RS to share them with. Caught wife cheating day before anniversary. Update. Spoiler. Those of you who saw my post about visiting Pos in jail with OBS may recall that I used a couple of lines from the movie A Few Good Men, one of my favorites, BTW. Well, here's another one. And the hits just keep on coming. If you know what scene that is from, you've probably seen it about 20 times like I have. 100 bonus points if you can comment on which scene without looking it up. Well, he's back. Not in the sense that he's visited or hanging around looking for trouble. Yesterday I found out a most interesting story about the latest twist in Pos life. AP number 2 still works for me and she asked if I had a few minutes to talk yesterday. This is what she wanted to tell me. After her court date concerning reopening her child support from Pos, she agreed to the 10th of each month being when she would receive her child support to give Pos a little relief from everything coming due first of the month. First few months money was there on time. This month, nothing. So she contacted SL who followed up with the judge in the case about the missing payment. She really didn't want to contact him and get some excuse. Well, he really does have a good excuse. He is back in jail and is in major trouble, facing serious prison time. About 6 to 7 weeks ago there was a story in the news about federal, state and local law enforcement working together to take down a major sex trafficking ring. It seems as though Pos has some peripheral involvement in this case. The short version is the people, both men and women, running the trafficking ring were bringing in Eastern European young girls and women to the country. Once here the promised jobs were not here and they would force them into prostitution for their escort services in different parts of the state. It seems they choose this area of the country to try and operate under the radar as opposed to bigger cities like New York or LA. It appears that Pos was a customer of said escort service. All phone and financial records have led the authorities to chase down the customers of these people. One of girls forced into working as an escort was someone that Pos saw 3 different times. She is only 16. He is facing 3 counts of sexual assault of a minor along with a whole list of others such as being a part of a criminal enterprise, soliciting prostitution and many more. SL seems to think he is really screwed. That even a great defense lawyer will have a hard time keeping him out of prison for significant time. The prosecutor leading the case has come out and saying that he will aggressively pursue maximum penalties for everyone involved, from those running the ring to the customers, to discourage anyone from doing this again and abusing innocent women. I know a lot of this is acting tough for the press to have great sound bites come election time, but can't see how Poz is going to wiggle out of this one. It appears that the karma train has finally caught up to him. I'm not really happy about this latest development. I cannot help but feel sorry for these women who were lured to this country with the promise of a better life only to have it turn into a nightmare. About 30% of my workforce are immigrants who came here looking for a better life for themselves and their families. I am proud to have been able to give them good paying jobs and help them realize that dream. I just can't imagine what those poor women have gone through. I pray they will be able to stay here and work on their dream. Vow renewal. So Tuesday last week when we were watching the game, I asked her if she wanted to go to the cabin one more time before it got cold. Asked if she was up for hiking at a state park before we got to the cabin. Let's go early, she said. Stopped at a little diner on the way up for breakfast. Got to the park and set out on the trail overlooking the lake up on the bluffs. Got to the spot where we took the family picture years ago that she loves so much. I asked her if she remembered this spot. Of course I do, she said, and it makes me so happy that you do too. We need to bring the kids back here and get a picture of all 6 of us. Soon to be 7, I reminded her. On Tuesday I wrote her a letter that planned to give her. Had that in one pocket, ring in the other. Plan was to let her read it, fake a cramp in my leg and kneel behind her as she finished it. So, I told her I had something I wanted to give her. Handed her the letter saying your BD letter was so well received I thought I would write you another. I'm not going to post the letter here. If you want to know, just ask. As she finishes reading I can tell she's crying a little. She turns around to look for me and sees down on one knee. A little gasp and she's crying even more now. I laugh a little and say, how are you going to say yes if you're still crying? She stands up, tells me to be quiet and tackles me just like she did all those years ago at our graduation when I asked her the first time. Now we're both laughing and I say I'm a lot older than I was back then. I think you hurt my back. She rolls on top of me and gives me a kiss. I tell her would at least let me finish what I was going to say before you say yes. I know you've punished yourself a lot for what has happened. Right now I can think of no greater punishment than spending the rest of your life with me. So I'm asking you to marry me again, in front of our children, family and friends. She tackled me again and said yes. All that's left now is to decide when. Update. AP number 2 and OBS. A couple of people have asked me how AP number 2 and OBS are doing, so I thought I would post a quick update. First, OBS. She is still working and doing well with her old company. She and I talk a couple of times a month. She's in the process of selling her house as she has an accepted offer on a condo and closes on the first week of December. She and her 3 children reached out to AP number 2 and they all got together and the half-siblings met each other. That get-together went very well and they have been in contact and have plans to see more of each other. Finally, in what can be only called completely unexpected, RS and OBS have become friends. This summer OBS asked me if it would be alright if she called RS. I said sure and they talked. At the time RS was training for her triathlon and OBS asked about that. She wanted to get a bike and start riding. RS helped her pick one out and they started riding together until the weather changed. Now OBS wants to start training for a sprint distance triathlon. RS is helping her out and is basically her swim coach. She is very happy that RS and I have stayed together. Said she's not really thinking about jumping into dating pool yet, but isn't ruling it out. AP number 2 is doing great and it shows. Since she works for me, I see her on a daily basis. You can just tell she has turned her life around. She has a happy, healthy glow and a great attitude. Around the office she just has this infectious positivity about her that lifts everyone up. My work family has taken her in and she fits right in. Turns out she has a pretty quick wit and can take as well as give out a good-natured jab. Around here no one is immune, myself included. I've tried explaining to her what things will be like when a big snowstorm hits, but she thinks I'm just BSing. Well, she sees soon enough. Her ex-husband has shown that he is a good man. Thanks to the woman he's seeing right now, he and AP number 2 have talked like adults and come to a co-parenting arrangement. Her new position with us has allowed her to move into a nicer, bigger place. Bottom line is the kids are splitting time between mom and dad, 50-50. I'm sure there will be hiccups along the way, but they seem to put the kids first and are making it work. Everybody else, our kids, my lab and RS and I are doing well. Thanks for your help along the way. Snowing here, Canada, right now. Your story has a rough beginning but a Disney ending. A good outcome. I'm actually surprised AP number 2's husband didn't come to the table to try some counseling. Any update on the scumbag? Or has he already been fitted for an orange wardrobe for a few years? No news on Boz. I believe he is out on bail and awaiting trial. Thanks so much for the update, especially on AP number 2. Never any doubt in my mind that OBS would survive and thrive after her taking care of Poz in the motel room that day. Her relationship with RS is pretty amazing. In my warped mind, I'm hoping AP number 2 will eventually find another love interest, but it sounds as if she is doing quite well without one. Her ex is a stand-up guy in the end. I trust your new home is all you expected it to be. I hope Cooper is happy with it. Peace. Thanks. Cooper loves the new place. A lot more area for him to run around. Thanks for the update. So glad to see that everyone is getting what they deserve, including Poz. 2 fingers of A for everyone. Thanks. 2 fingers it is. Good idea. Pets and your WS. A question for other BS and how their pets, dog in my case, treated your WS. If you've read or followed my story, you remember that on D-Day, 40 weeks ago now, when I came home early and found them, my black lab was just sitting by the back door with a sad look on his face, like he knew, instead of jumping on me and wanting to play. After the confrontation, I told her to pack a bag and leave. She was gone for a week and came back for 10 days before we separated. During those 10 days he was always with me, took him to work, etc., and never in the house with RS. October 1st we moved back in together. She told me last week that he finally warmed up to her. That while he wasn't mean or growling or anything like that, he never came over to her, would get up and walk away when she sat near him, where he used to put his head in her lap or lay down for a belly rub. Looking back I didn't notice, but she's right. If she fed him he wouldn't eat right away and would look at me till I said okay. Just a lot of little things like he didn't want anything to do with her. I'm just wondering if anyone else had that experience with your pet's reaction to your WS. Update. Great day Sunday. Before I get into what happened this past Sunday, I wanted to make a Thanksgiving Day post. Of course I have much to be thankful for, and I wanted to remind others of the same thing, no matter if D-Day was yesterday or years ago. In the words of Kenny Chesney, breathing in and out is a blessing, can't you see? Unfortunately, what happened in Waukesha, Wisconsin 4 days before Thanksgiving was on my mind and kept me from posting. If you want to know why, just DM me. Onto 2 days ago. A tradition in my family for as long as I can remember was a week or so after Thanksgiving my sister and I would help my folks make cookies and homemade candies, decorate the tree and play/sing Christmas music. Later in life that included our spouses and our children. Since my dad passed away, Mom hasn't felt like doing it, no matter how much we tried to convince her. Christmas was my dad's big deal. I used to joke that you could see the front of our house from the moon. Saturday night RS tells me to get the smoker out cause I'm going to smoke some brisket Sunday morning before I go to the office for a few hours. When I get back my mom's car was there, and figured she was coming for dinner. Then the kids and the spouses pull up. RS had planned a little surprise to start the tradition again. Bought everything needed and invited everyone over. The kids finally chided Grandma into doing it again, telling her it was okay to miss Grandpa, we all do, but he'd be super pissed if we didn't start doing this again. He would be, I guarantee it. A wonderful time was had by everyone. Made way to many cookies, told stories about Dad, laughed, cried a little and had some delicious brisket for dinner, and watched Sunday night football. Sorry Bears fans, but Aaron Rodgers does own you. My mom stayed the night. After everyone left, she gave RS a huge hug thanking her for doing this. That the kids were right, we shouldn't have stopped. Laying in bed that night I couldn't help but think this is another reason why reconciliation is the right way to go for me. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and remember to cherish those closest to you. Update, story I wanted to share. Hello everyone. I'll start by wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. I hope you get a chance to spend the holidays with family and anyone important in your life. Wanted to share a story I told to someone else yesterday. Another example, I guess, of why reconciliation was right for us. A friend here told me during deer hunting he takes a notebook with him in the field and journals while he's in the peace and quiet of the woods. I told him how my grandpa taught me early on to keep a log of each day I spend in the woods. I do that to this day. A few nights ago I was putting my gear away and saw the box with the old logs inside. RS has asked a few times why I keep them. Each year I will look at ones from 3 to 4 years back for information that might be useful, travel patterns, weather, moon phases, etc. It occurred to me that I might have written something about RS from the fall we first met, my junior year in college. Poured a bourbon and started going through the logs. It brought back some good memories. My grandpa had passed away in September of my sophomore year and hadn't been able to hunt for a few years before that. I always went to see him after the season and tell stories. The first year he was gone I wrote him a letter thanking him for all he taught me about life and hunting, that every year I would be thinking of him and look up and say thanks Grandpa over every deer I was fortunate enough to get. The next year was when I met RS. I have written a letter to him again. All about her. How beautiful she is. How'd he really like her? She was so down to earth, and didn't take herself too seriously like other pretty girls I'd known. Very much a small town Midwestern girl. How I wish he'd had a chance to meet her, cause I think she's the one. To send some prayers down this way hoping she feels the same. RS comes downstairs and I say this is why I keep these and show her the first letter to my grandpa. After she read she said it was really heartfelt and that she wished she could have met him. You'd have liked him and I know he would have loved to meet you, and told her to turn the page to the next year. She looks up and says it's another letter. Did you do this every year? No, this was the last one. She starts to read and stops, looks at me when she realizes it's about her. Just stared at me and I told her to keep reading. She finishes and I can tell she's trying not to cry. This had to be only 6 to 7 weeks after we started dating. I nod yes. Tells me she never knew I felt that way about her so soon. I reminded her I told her that a few times. She tells me that even though we said I love you to each other often, she always worried I was going to leave after graduation. Even the night she tried to convince me not to give up on baseball and I told her my real dream was building a life with her, she still didn't want to believe it until I actually proposed to her. Anyway, that's it for now. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas too, and many more ahead. Hope the coming new year will be better than the last few. The whole world needed, to be honest. Take care. Thanks. Merry Christmas to you too. Up advance Merry Christmas, Bouquet. Your reconciliation will work, because she was never in love with the pos. She loves you, and was coerced into the affair unwillingly with job loss threats. She was a victim of a predator. The love you have for each other was tested, but never diminished. A divorce would have hurt more than it helped. You just needed time to sort things out. I'm pleased it all worked out. One day, since life seems to have returned to normal, I think you will end this post. Your friends and followers here will miss you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thanks. Merry Christmas to you too. Beautiful but also bittersweet. I am glad you two are living your lives with passion. That said, it is also possible she is feeling unworthy. I can't remember, is she doing IC? Thanks. Yes, she still sees her IC. I hope all enjoy this year's Christmas. GBF, if your RS is willing, have her write about all this from her side. I think it would benefit so many women out there before cheating, and tell how it really is from a female perspective. She has undergone so much, and to avoid all the damage and hurt caused, is so needed today. But as always, thank you for sharing all your experience and details thereof to help us all grow to be better humans. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. What a wonderful story for this time of year. GBF, you and RS, are positive examples for the rest of us, and I look forward to your updates as they provide a bright spot to my day. Wishing you and your family the best of holidays and a wonderful new year. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. We hope to make this a holiday tradition. Please let us know what you think. Merry Christmas to you all. And to all a good night. Or day. Wherever you are.